Oh, did you see that? Expedition 33 swept the Game Awards. Who saw that coming? No, I'm not putting on a voice, actually. I'm quite sick. Some would even say I'm sick nasty. I'm getting over a bug. The bug is large and black. It has 2 wings, and I named him Harold. But I do love that the progression of every single Game Awards every single year is the exact goddamn same as the year before. One game sweeps, because just the way that games are is that if a certain game is really critically acclaimed, gets a whole bunch of great reception, then naturally it's going to fit well into all of the different categories that lead up to Game of the Year, so of course every fucking Game Awards is a sweep. And I feel I need to remind you that the panel of judges who decide the winners for the Game Awards are made up of people like this, so I don't know why anybody takes this show seriously. That's not to say that games winning awards is a bad thing, or the games that win awards don't deserve to win awards. Obviously, these are good games. Expedition 33 is a fantastic game, and out of the games that were up for Game of the Year, I think it's the one that deserved it. I just find it funny that this panel of judges, all the people who sit on the Game Awards panel, are people that you would never take seriously when it comes to game opinions for the entirety of the year, but then when they give an award to a game that you like, suddenly they're credible, or a game that you don't like, suddenly they're not credible. But if they were to say something nice about the game you like, now they are credible, even though the entire rest of the year you wouldn't listen to them. This show is just one giant circle jerk because there's no E3 anymore. That's all this is. But what I do love about every single Game Awards is when the game that is the most casual and is up for Game of the Year doesn't win, then everyone freaks the fuck out as if something is rigged, or there's like no possible way that the game that sold the most copies or had the most casual player base on the latest Nintendo console or had the prettiest graphics and the fanciest pants on the PlayStation, when that game doesn't win, people freak out. As if the games you like don't get glazed the entire year up to this point, so like when is it enough? But anyways, that's happening again because Expedition 33, a relatively low budget game from a new studio, absolutely swept the Game Awards. It won 9 awards, including Game of the Year, and now holds the record for the most Game Award wins in a single day. A record previously held by The Last of Us 2, just in case you needed even more reason not to take the Game Awards seriously. But we're just gonna look through some of the announcement tweets about Claire Obscura winning Game of the Year, and going through the responses, because there were so many people who were fucking furious about this. It really is just Baldur's Gate all over again. It's the people who only play the most popular games with the biggest marketing pushes, or games that only have balls or guns in them, complaining about the fact that a true piece of art from an unknown studio and an unknown franchise, of the franchise that didn't exist up to this point, is getting the recognition that they don't think it deserves, and the only reason they don't think it deserves recognition is because they personally haven't heard of it. And really no other reason. Like this guy, who says, I haven't played it, and most people I know haven't played it either. I'm convinced this game is an industry plant. And then out of curiosity, I clicked on his account, and the first 2 posts from his account are FIFA World Cup tweets. Never beaten the allegation, ball and gun bros. No, not even trying to beat the allegations. I've never heard of this game. My friends haven't heard of this game. It must be an industry plant, this game. By the way, I sure do love hashtag FIFA World Cup. Black Dog Zepp says, how does a game that almost no one has ever heard of end up winning Game of the Year? And then I, once again, was curious, so I clicked on his profile, and oh goodness, he's retweeting giveaways for Five Nights at Freddy's merchandise. The casual gaming scene sends their best every single year. This guy says, perfect picture of gaming today. This is what the gamers look like. They deserve every bit of slop the corporate machine feeds them. All this because a game won Game of the Year, and it had a small budget, and it was by an unknown team, and it was a not very AAA style of gameplay. That means it's corporate machine slop. Huh? Cobra Chicken Prime says, how much did they bribe you for that? And Cade says, the most blatant rigging in history. Which, I love that. It's like, Nintendo was up for Game of the Year. Sony was up for Game of the Year with Death Stranding. But yes, if anybody successfully bribed the fucking Game Awards, you know, the show where it takes, 7 figures to get an ad running? Yes, if anybody successfully bribed their way to the top, it would be the brand new French studio with no real, insider future connections. You really think that if people were rigging the Game Awards, Like this is what people were saying when Baldur's Gate won. They were like, "Oh, Baldur's Gate rigged the Game Awards." It's like it was up against Nintendo and fucking Sony. You really think that if rigging was going on, Nintendo and Sony would be out-rigged by fucking Larian Studios? And it's the same thing here. You really think that if it's possible to rig the Game Awards, that means Nintendo and Sony would be successfully out-rigged 2 years in a row? Like, that's blatantly not what's happening. Maybe it was just a good game that won a bunch of awards because a bunch of people liked it. Which, again, it's like I said at the beginning, this show doesn't fucking matter. These people's opinions who choose these games, they don't fucking matter. It's just a popularity contest. IGN named Clair Obscur their game of the year after giving it a 7 out of 10. Like, they're blatantly just following the trends of the industry. These shows don't matter. But not only do you think they do matter, but you think it's possible to rig them, and even though you do think it's possible to rig them, you think two mega corporations, those being Sony and Nintendo, you think they would both be out-rigged by a random fresh-ass French studio with like 30 people working there. Like, how do you even come to this conclusion? Pause app says biggest sellout award goes to the Game Awards. Yeah, it's selling out to try and give recognition to a game that a lot of people liked. It would be less selling out if they gave the awards to the games that sold more copies regardless of quality. That would be less of a sellout thing to do. It's sellouty to give the game to a new studio and a new game. It's not sellouty had the award gone to one of the corporations that was up for the award. That would be not sellouty. Unless they're talking about Hollow Knight. Like, oh, it should have been Silksong. Should have been Hollow Knight that wins. You're selling out because it didn't go to Silksong. Like, bro, I think Silksong is fine. I think the Silksong devs are doing just fine. It's like 4 dudes who made an expansion pack sequel to their indie game, and it shut the entire industry down for like a week because so many people were buying it. I don't think they're going to lose sleep over not winning as many fucking awards as Expedition 33. Like, I just don't think they care. Adam, hashtag Splatoon cross Fortnite when? Check pinned to, oh my god. He says, paid off, but I'm happy that Nintendo didn't win and Doom the Dark Ages got an award. So the fucking Splatoon cross Fortnite guy thinks the Game Awards were paid off. But also, you doofus, if you think it's possible, this is what you guys don't understand. If you think it's possible to pay off the Game Awards, if you think it's possible to pay your way to a trophy, then why are you happy that Doom got an award? How do you know Doom didn't pay for a trophy? Like, if you believe wholeheartedly that it's possible to pay your way to victory at the Game Awards, why are you happy that a game you did like got an award? How do you know they didn't pay for it? Jake2194 says, has anyone ever heard and played this game? Am I just checked out of the gaming world? Yes. Yes, you're checked out. OMG Judah says, I knew I couldn't fucking count on Jeff to deliver. This fucking sucks. Again, why? Like, why? What did you want to win? What did you want Jeff to do? It's a monumental achievement from a brand new studio, and it had like the most critical acclaim of the entire year. What did you think was going to happen? This guy says, Silksong robbed, glorified cutscene parry, slop, simulator, sweep, gaming is officially dead, rip 1986 to 2025, you had a good run. Gaming is dead because the game that you didn't like as much won an award over the game that you did like as much, even though both games were extremely successful and you can play either one at any time. Gaming is dead, even though both of these games exist perfectly well, but one of them got a trophy and the other one didn't. Gaming is dead because of that. Neat. Frogthrower says, how the fuck a game with 200 people in the dev team and a whole ass publisher win best indie? It's not even an indie game at that point. Get this industry plant out of here, bruh. Okay, well, indie has nothing to do with the size of the studio or the budget. It has to do with the way the game is distributed and developed. Like, oh my god, do you know what indie means? I mean, clearly not. But also, how is it an industry plant? Everyone said Baldur's Gate was an industry plant too. It's like the entire industry was shitting itself over Baldur's Gate 3 because it raised the bar. And the industry was shitting itself over Expedition 33 as well because it was raising the bar of what people expect. But yeah, no, it's an industry plant. The industry that likes to upcharge for less content and with like gigantic overblown budgets, that is the industry that planted a game with a smaller budget and a smaller development team, making a game with a lower price tag and more content in it. That's the game that was planted. You fucking doofus. How about one more? Just one more. This is probably like the most intelligent one so far, so I want to at least give it some time to talk about. Foos says, all white, and those hats, racist and nationalist studio. They're French. So, I don't really know what you want from them. They're French. I was going to make a big final point, but then I just forgot what it was going to be because I'm just wired on Dayquil right now, and I think it's starting to wear off, which means my train of thought was chugging, but it chugged for too long, so now my train of thought is just falling, like down a hill. Down a hill. You're on the island of misfit toys. I wish you all the best. You know what I mean? I wish you gun and ball gamers the best. I really do wish the best for you. I just also wish you would shut the fuck up when it comes to awards season. Okay, Doofus Club time. Baron von Vonderhaum, Floppy Fingers 97, I own 7 copies of Click 2006 on Blu-ray, Unicorn Rocco, Goji Fan 2005, Harmon Smith 3rd Shin, Biscuit 1101, Nate, The Return of the King, but is upside down, below 310 Char, Wild Gamer 2001, Senpai Joe, You Make My Earthquake, Winky, Kushkin, Doug, Nixie, and Dirty Mike and the Boys. Joe Goons for Gaston, here I have 6 dozen eggs. Max Kilovici Gaming, Elite, I Want to Squeeze, Harmon Smith's Temples, Grimsy, Sergeant Jason Bond, It's a Hard Nug Life, Nice Dude, One Man Savage, People Open Bowler, Have No Payoff, Official Drugs. Oh no, it's Gara getting pegged under a bedsheet. Ooh, Vector, Vanilla Archie, Mechanical Resonance, Sick Nick, Mad Fox 94, Exchange Induction, Barry Brain, Stick Rider, Broken Crown, Pro Rapper, Racking. I'm buying all the Steam controllers for myself. Devastator 2000, Jake Spider Monkey 94, Biggest Diggest, Shrove, Metal to Schmidt, Chris Void, Vast, Dennis, Game with Dead People, Musky, Big Fudge, Thrash, The Vibe and Odd, Club of Penguin, Jojo 6, Multi, Really Zerd, Oracle, Blaster 2014, Jimmy Job, Smasher Killer, Firestorm 2056, Tom Schnorlax, and Unknown 86718. I own 20 copies of The Terminator on Laserdisc. Live Action Scooby-Doo on 2002 deserves an Oscar. I own 6 copies of Clip 2006 on Blu-ray. Bender Fondue, Chi Chang, Rising on Non Voila, Partial Mate 8, Vox Auto, Codman 437 WX, okay. Snake Eyes 37, MQ296E, Hentai Pocket Game of Fire has 105, Tech Game Angel, Slim Jim, Lord Bowser II, Joe Laughs, Less than the Moke, Luke Ludo, Without Disney, PC Gamer, Jessica Shepard, Ricky Spot, Ricky Abby, Xylophone, Doof, and Schmerz Academy. Accrue the Steel Angel. I own 10 copies of Elf 2003. 3 on Blu-ray. What is happening? Cyrus 6771, 2 Dexka 940, Zickety, Creed Warrior 23, Max Chev, Simply the Chat, Total Insanity, Black Cobra, Face the Wall, Xeno Lover, Night of Cypher, ML04, Wolf of the Night, Pig Bean, Steven Studios, Film Kraken, Ohm Gaming, Tariq, Brown Thorns Game, Maganex 7, Evans, Just 3, The Kindly for Climax, Power, Donnie Weston, Nick, Gob Gonson, Rogue 919, Zach Thane, Kinnick, and Fami, Hammer for Hire, Ellen, Noble Frost, Crystal, Biogenesis, Mega Keys, Covers Go, Ghost, or Reese, Augie, After Sim, on Stuff 94, Blue Hook, and Wayne Wang, Techno Squeak, Jody Peters, Mega Wang, Jensen, McAfee, Tyson, Diego Garcia, Kevin Gins, I reckon, Harmon Smith of the channel, Justin Rand, We're Tweet Wing, Wolf 7, Retro, Wannabe, Hobo, West Up, Jam, MMSG, Veg, Griffin, and Curtin, Nowlands, Pax, All Hathan, Click, Blue 6, I've Ray, I copies 2006 on Own. I am gonna cry. I'm going to cry 6 times on 2006 on Blu-ray. Okay, toodles.